Arizona, where the Cardinals are going to release Kyler Murray. Not totally unexpected, but all of a sudden kind of sad. Here's what Kyler wrote on social media. To everyone that supported me and showed kindness to my family and I during my time in Arizona, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. I wanted nothing more than to be the one to end the
77-year drought.
77-year drought for the organization.
It's a long drought.
Sorry.
I'm sorry I failed us. I wish this community and my brothers nothing but the best. He goes on. He says he's prepared for whatever is next. He trusts in God and my work ethic. I truly believe my best ball is in front of me, and I look forward to proving it. Godspeed from Kyler Murray.
That really touched you.
I just thought it was like if I got released, I'd be like, deuces, I'm out of here. But I thought this was really sweet.
I thought it was a great letter, but I think it's what most people do.
Yeah, but I
Just say I'm sorry for not being able to deliver.
Look,
it's like the
if
number
that's
one
a
pick
sign of kind of humility and understanding, okay, blowing it might be a little too strong, but look, I'm not making the most of my career, then I love it. That wherever he goes next, he's going to be like, okay, I didn't do the right things in Arizona. I wasn't as studious as I needed to be. I've learned my lesson. I love it if that's.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think blowing it is too strong. Like, yes,
he's a number one pick.
He was a number one pick. He got a second contract, so in that sense, he's been a success. But I mean, he got hurt, and then they just didn't bring him back this year. Like, I mean, they were like, oh, Jacoby Brissett, Kyler Murray. We'll go with Jacoby Brissett. Like, it ended very poorly for him in Arizona.
It's just, before we get to like the main, just to add to that, I do think it is a profound experience in anyone's life the first time they actually fail. And Kyler Murray's never failed.
No.
Like I know you guys joke, you gave me a hard time yesterday, but he is regarded as the greatest player in the history of Texas high school football. He then went to college, was unbelievable, and won the Heisman Trophy. He then was the number one pick, and very early in his Cardinals career was that best year they had.
He was a first-round pick in baseball.
That's what I was going to say.
He's
Think
one of the
about
best athletes
all
to ever
little
come to the
kids that
NFL.
want to play baseball, and Kyler Murray's thinking, I don't play professional baseball because I choose not to.
Oh yeah,
he's one of the best
certainly
athletes
could.
to come to the NFL.
And so to your and then early in his career, that was the year they started.
2 Pro Bowls.
Right, they started 9-0. That was the year when they had J.J. Watt and DeAndre early on there. He got that huge deal, and then basically everything since this isn't why, but the moment the story came out that they put the study clause in the contract.
Call of Duty clause.
Yeah, it has been a different arc in his career that led to this, which is his first sports failure that I'm aware of in any regard. But go ahead.
So here's my question for you, Danny. With the specter of Sam Darnold's Super Bowl championship looming over really every quarterback's career outside the great quarterbacks, how much of Kyler Murray's failure is on Kyler Murray, and how much of it is just on, hey man, you're drafted by the Cardinals. That's how this organization rolls.
Yeah, I think while he is not like Sam Darnold in terms of he does not have typical size, everything else about Kyler does kind of scream Sam Darnold. Bad franchise, couple different offensive coordinators, relative stability at head coach. He's only had a couple. But like if you said, hey, he's mobile, he's fast, he has a cannon for an arm, and he still is young and in his athletic prime, I absolutely think that a franchise could talk themselves into, we can turn Kyler Murray into a Super Bowl winning quarterback. Like I absolutely believe that. And so to answer that question anyway, like I'll tell you the team I don't want to see him go to because it would be in the Bears division, and it's Minnesota. So if I was Kyler, I would be trying to go there, even if it meant there was the spectacle of a competition, at least at the beginning, with J.J. McCarthy.
He would beat. I'm not a big Kyler Murray guy. He would beat out J.J. McCarthy.
I know, but if he went
but
to
it would still be a competition.
But it would be a competition.
Right. If he went to the Jets, there is no competition. If he goes to the Steelers and Will Howard, there is no competition. But if I were him, I would say, well, Kevin O'Connell had Kirk Cousins have monster years. He had Sam Darnold have a monster year. I'm in a dome with a great play caller, with arguably the best receiver in football, and a lot of other talent on offense, and an elite defense that at the end of the year was shutting down the Lions, was shutting down the Packers. Like, Kyler Murray ends up in Arizona. They are
in Minnesota.
In Minnesota, excuse me. They are a playoff contender immediately, and we will talk about him through the Sam Darnold prism.
Before you go, Brew, can
I like that.
How much of everything you just said there also applies to Atlanta?
A lot of it.
Like
a lot of it.
Competition with Penix. You're in a dome. You have. I think Stefanski's a pretty good offensive, mind as well. You have talent, so that I think certainly an easier division.
Easier division.
Yeah,
the Pierce legal stuff. More defensive questions in Atlanta than I would say Minnesota. But
no doubt.
I would absolutely apply Atlanta. Same type of logic.
I think that makes sense. I do think Atlanta may be a little more in on Penix. I think they want him to play, but he's injury prone, just like JJ. So that's a question. But I was looking more. Look, if I'm him, I'm crossing out the Jets. Cleveland, I don't know that they still got Watson, they got Shador. I don't know if they'll go after him. Miami, if I'm him, I'm probably not really high on going there. Pittsburgh could make some sense because it really be the same thing as Justin Fields for them. Okay, this is a guy he has probably more talent than Justin, but I'm saying they're let's take a shot on him and see if he's our guy in the future. But I agree with Danny. Minnesota makes all the sense in the world. And you're right, it would be a competition. He should beat out J.J. McCarthy. And, they won 9 games with abysmal quarterback play. If he really is really soul-searching and saying, okay, I'm really going to lock into the things that can make me a good quarterback, which are the studying and maybe attitude, things like that. We know he has the physical ability. Mm-hmm. And so I would love to see him in Minnesota. Look, it's a tough division. He could play well there and they could not make the playoffs. But he could play well there and they could go deep into the playoffs. So, yeah, I think Minnesota makes all the sense in the world.
Can I – hold on, because
Go ahead.
I'm going to throw a total wild card out there. So if you want to ask a follow-up first, go ahead.
I was wondering, because I agree with Brew, if I was with an organization that was not A+, let's just say, I'm crossing off the other organizations that are either rebuilding or might be a little bit funky. If I'm Mike McCarthy, I don't know if I'm waiting on Aaron Rodgers any longer.
He shouldn't be.
I'm you know what? Kevin O'Connell, God bless him up in Minnesota. I can coach an offense too. And I've got a better playoff record than you do. We might not have Justin Jefferson, but we got DK Metcalf. Our division is also tough.
No, I think the NFC North is tougher than the AFC North.
I agree.
Even though there's not a Lamar in that division.
It's stable. Vikings are, fire their GM, but are considered stable. But I like Mike McCarthy. I like Kyler. I think it's interesting in Pittsburgh.
So all right. So here's the
You've got a wild card?
Because I wrote down Pittsburgh/Cleveland as ones that I knew people bring up. Minnesota and Atlanta, because he is probably going to one of those 4 teams. Mm-hmm. I understand that because Kyler Murray probably right now is no, I want to start next year.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if he should. If my number one job was ensure Kyler Murray has the best chance at reaching his full potential and his next stop be his last stop and he actually be excellent one day, I would tell him, go to the Rams.
I knew you were going to say that.
Don't play. You won't play this year. And what you're going to do is the study habits you didn't learn, you're going to learn. Sitting at learning from Sean McVay and Matt Stafford, you are going to, kind of quietly rebuild, your confidence, whatever it is, and it will be a direct handoff from Matt Stafford to you in a year. And by the way, you might play this year because I know Stafford was healthy this year, but going into the year, guy was hanging out in the amortal chamber because we were worried about his back. And that, to me, the Rams, because the Rams don't have, as no team really does, a path after Stafford, and they shouldn't worry about a path after Stafford. They're trying to win Super Bowls right now. But that would be, I think, the best thing for him. because I think Kevin O'Connell's a really good coach. A lot of that has to do with good offenses, but I know Sean McVay's a great coach. I know the Rams have great talent. I know that's an excellent organization. And I know that it's really important for Kyler that the next stop work. Because if the next stop doesn't work, it's a couple years before you get another shot. You know, like it is, then all of a sudden you're
that
on.
almost feels like the Justin Fields path, though. It doesn't feel like
It's
Murray.
exactly like the Sam Darnold path.
Right,
Everybody
but
talks
Sam
about the
didn't-
Darnold path.
Yeah, but
he
Darnold
sat-
didn't have an opportunity to start, right? Like, so he went.
Right.
Like, it was like he was like, I'm going to go to the best coach and learn with Shanahan, and then Brock Purdy.
But you're trying to avoid the Carolina's pit stop.
Correct.
I don't think it's a bad idea.
I'm trying
I'd
to
rather go to
think
the
it makes
Rams than the
sense.
Jets, but I would rather go to the Vikings and start than the Rams and back up.
But so I understand that, but I also would need if I am, let's just say the Rams are an option, then any place I choose over them, they need to tell me this is not a comp. I'm not running the risk of all of a sudden being the backup here.
No,
because I
that's right.
suffer. I
The
pull
J.J.
my
McCarthy
hamstring.
thing has to be.
Right, like because the other thing is you can lose a competition because you get outplayed, or you can lose a competition because you tweak your hamstring on the second day of training camp and you're out 3 weeks. Like I need to be I need to be told beyond a shadow of a doubt you're the starter, or else I don't know. And maybe it's too much Sean McVay pixie dust, but McVay had Baker for 2 weeks.
Literally for like that one first game.
Game, he was great, right?
Quickly, can put you on the spot here. How does the money work?
So I think his contract has offsets. Do you know the answer to this?
I'm pretty sure he can sign for the minimum because Arizona's paying him.
He's going to get $35 million from Arizona.
And so now, by the way, some guys don't, even though they're not going to pocket any extra money, some guys don't want to do that because
You need an investment from the
of
team?
you're right, because you want the team to show they're invested or the ego hit of it. But it is, most of these contracts, if Arizona owes him 35 and the next team pays him 5, then Arizona only owes him 30. If the next team pays him 15, then Arizona only owes him 20. I'm not 100% certain if his contract had it, but if he agreed to study habits clause, I think he probably agreed to offset clause.
Really interesting. All right, we'll have more on that all week in between our Trey Hendrickson news. But right now,
Trey Hendrickson, why didn't we get his farewell letter on the show?
we got to do top 10, unfortunately. All right, Giannis is back. I don't think the Bucks are making the top 10, but we'll see where the Celtics fared. They held the Bucks to 79 without Giannis, 81 with Giannis, because they are a great defense. Where do the Celtics fall in top 10 Tuesday? Let's find out.
We'll get to the Celtics in just a little bit. And yeah, Giannis would be top 10 player, but the Bucks not a top 10 team. I will say, though, coming in at number 10, the Los Angeles Lakers. I don't think
Feels about right.
Yeah, I don't think they can win, but in the 6 games since the All-Star break, when Luka, LeBron, and Reeves have all been starting, those guys are averaging 67 points a game, the 3 of them. Their goal is to outscore everybody. Since the All-Star break, it's been working.
I mean, they pounded the Kings.
Yeah. They pounded the Kings, exactly. Coming in at number 9, the Rockets. The Rockets are a little too similar to last year's version of the Rockets for my liking, which is weird, even though they added Kevin Durant. Like, Şengün's amazing, a big who does everything and is efficient. They're the best rebounding team in basketball by far, but they still don't seem versatile enough to me. I think they easily could lose in the first round of the Western Conference playoffs, but they are the 3 seed right now, so they come in at number 9. Coming in at number 8, the New York Knicks. My skepticism of this team is what they're doing recently on the defensive end real? Or is it just Mike Brown has some buy-in from a team that is playing hard in the regular season and getting them to overachieve on that end? I'm skeptical. But if their defense is real, they can win, because when they hold teams to under 100 points, they're one of 2 teams in the NBA that's undefeated. So like when the defense shows up, their offense is good enough to beat basically anybody. I just have my skepticism that that'll actually continue in May and into June. Coming in at number 7, the try-hard Pistons. They're young, they're fun. I love Cade Cunningham. We just have seen so many teams in the NBA that they play the regular season like it's the playoffs, and then when everyone else is playing the playoffs like it's the playoffs, the gap closes. Brew, you always talk about how Cade Cunningham, they don't have a true second scorer. They also don't really have a second playmaker. Cade Cunningham accounts for 33% of their assists, which is the highest percentage of any one player in the NBA. At number 6, Wilds, your Boston Celtics. They're going to get Tatum back. We don't know when, but since the end of January, since January 31st, across the board, best team in the NBA. It's kind of wild, and that opponent points per game, I know people are talking about.
That's impressive.
I know they're talking about the chemistry when Tatum comes back. They've dealt with that before, with Jaylen Brown being the Finals MVP. Like, they'll figure that out. I'd be worried about what Tatum coming back does to the defense for Boston if he's anything less after the Achilles.
Wilds is wildly distracted by the little note line. Second best.
Wasn't
defense.
nothing. It wasn't
Hornets.
Yeah.
And he's wondering if they're about to show up in your top
Just
5.
11 got in there. 11 Hornets.
11 Hornets.
Take it.
Yeah,
On the bubble.
you should take it. Yeah, right on the bubble. Coming in at number 5, the Minnesota Timberwolves. I give them a ton of credit for what they've done in the playoffs the last couple of years. Like, back-to-back Western Conference Finals is obviously impressive. They just beat the Nuggets 117-108 on Sunday. It's a team that plays its best basketball late in the season, and even if they're going to go in as a road team in round 1 in the West, I still think that they can end up coming out of the conference. Coming in at number 4, my Cleveland Cavaliers. Right now, without Donovan Mitchell, they've 1 and 2 in the last couple of games without him. But Jared Allen's been playing great since Harden's been there. Harden coming back and battling through the broken thumb. I think they actually have the ability, like we've talked about, to be a great offensive and defensive team going into the playoffs. Great defensive front court. Coming in number 3, the San Antonio Spurs. Question for them down the stretch. Can they get the 1 seed? They are 2 back of the Thunder in the West right now. But the Thunder have the 3rd toughest schedule the rest of the way. Spurs are middle of the pack. So we talk about a young team. They've never won a playoff series. Imagine if we got a Spurs Thunder series and Game 7 was in San Antonio when they've had all that success. So San Antonio's playing for a lot, obviously, in the playoffs. They also are probably playing for the 1 seed in the Western Conference the rest of the way. Coming in number 2, the Denver Nuggets. Best player in the sport. Best offense in the sport, and quietly, I know you guys were talking about Jamal Murray. He came up earlier in the King of the Hill conversation. Jamal Murray's having the best season of his career.
Finally came into the year in shape. Amazing what it does.
And he's taking the most shots, and he is producing at the highest level. And we've already seen him obviously be the 2nd best player on a title team. If this is the version of Jamal Murray that they're going to get the whole year, which has been the case, that is a very scary team. They're the best offense in the sport. But coming in at number 1, it's the Thunder. So many ways to point out that they're the best team. Point differential, historic point differential, best offense, best defense, all those things. But SGA right now, if we put this up, he's averaging over 31 points a game with a better than 3-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio. It's never happened in NBA history. I mean, we've been tracking it since the early 80s, because normally when you have that volume of scoring, you're going to have more turnovers. So, like, the ability to be that efficient, not turn it over, and score at that clip, he would be the only player ever to clear those thresholds. So he's got a shot at MVP because of the 65-game thing, but he's having a remarkable
We're
year.
running a little short on time. I know you have 10 takes here.
No, it's got to be perfect.
I'll cut the bonus takes. I'm going to say Detroit should be higher. I would switch Detroit and Cleveland. Look, Detroit is 7-1 against the other 3 top 4 seeds in the East. All right, I think their physical brand about the Knicks looked physical against the Spurs and finesse against Detroit. Like, Detroit, that's playoff basketball too. And everybody's they've beaten the Knicks 6 straight times in the regular season. Everybody talks about the Knicks beating them in the playoffs. That was a really tough series. And I know the Knicks won in 6 games, but a couple of those games could have went either way, and Detroit might have won. So I think Detroit's going to do some damage in the playoffs. So I will put them in the top 5.
So, do you want
No.
to
Go ahead. I know we're short.
I understand, because I have this affinity as well, to look at Nikola Jokic and be like, well, his team's got to be one of the best teams. Look at what a great season he's having. Look at what a great player he is, especially when his wingman is having, to your point, the best season of his career. The NBA season is 82 games long. In the last 35, the Nuggets are 17-18. And they almost lost last night to the Jazz. They have the same number of losses this year as the 10th ranked Lakers, and their defense is right now bottom 10 in the league. So I understand the idea that once they get Peyton Watson back, once they get Aaron Gordon back, they're championship tested. They took the Thunder 7 games last year, that they have upside. But there is just, to me, no argument that right now they're a top 2 team in the league. I just think that they have not earned that. I think there's a number of teams on your list that right now have a better resume than Denver.
Well, Denver, listen, the Thunder thing in the playoffs definitely sticks with me. That series was remarkable, took them to the brink.
Where are the Pacers on this?
Well, come on. The Nuggets this season, even with all that, they lead the league in points per game, assist to turnover ratio, 3-point percentage, and offensive rating. Like, just being the best offensive team in the sport with the best player, that matters.
Yep. Hard ceiling.
You think it's a hard? Oh, so you're out on your Nuggets?
I'm not out.
Well, you just said hard ceiling.
But
You just said hard
I asked my wife where the coats are. Let's just say that. Not out, or thinking about leaving.
Ask your wife.
Yeah.
I'm glad you explained that.
Yeah, it was quite an
I got it.
Welcome back to the OT. Danny Parkins, Willie Colon, and you might have heard, we are 100 days from the World Cup kicking off right here on Fox and FS1. The studio is decorated. The extravaganza has been going on across the network all day. And it is time to welcome in our Fox Sports soccer analyst and our friend, Maurice Edu, here with us on the OT. 100 days, we're counting it down. And Mo, it's actually, and thank you for joining us, it's actually 101 days till the U.S.'s first match against Paraguay, June 12th. And I love some bad blood in my sports. And the last time they played, the friendly, there was the benches clearing and the whole thing. And that matters. You see the passion in these World Cup matches. How much of that animosity do you think carries over into the opening match of the World Cup?
Well, first of all, it's good to see you fellas. Appreciate you for having me on. And I know you're sharing the same excitement that I have for the kickoff of this World Cup this summer. But to your question directly, you've seen rivalries, you've seen the passion when you play for your respective club teams across sports, right? But when you put on your country's colors and you have that crest across your chest, it's just a different feeling. And that game against Paraguay, we needed that. This group needed that. That little moment to kind of galvanize a group. You see Sebastian Berhalter, he's the first one running in there trying to protect his teammates. These moments, they last, they linger, they kind of fuel your fire. And for Paraguay to be our first opponent in the World Cup, I can't wait. And on the opposite side, Paraguay's looking back at this moment too, thinking like, yeah, we want that get back, because as much as this melee played out, at the end of the day, we also got the win. We got the dub. And so, yeah, I can't wait for that opening game. It's going to be something special.
Mo, June 19th, USA versus Australia. Since we're going to stay on brand, things got chippy back in October. I'm a former offensive lineman. I played in the NFL. I love chippy. I love me a good chippy scrap match. How does chippiness impact the sport, especially in the World Cup?
Chippiness, it's especially on home soil now, right? You do something when that starts getting infused into the game, that brings the crowd more into it. Sometimes that's enough to just get into the opponent's mindset a little bit. But for me, this U.S. team, they need that. They need that bite. This is a talented group, maybe the most talented group of individuals we've ever had on the national team. And in the run up to this World Cup, at times they've been questioned. Do they have enough grit? Do they have enough bite? I would say this last year, especially the second half of this last year, you saw that. This team fighting for one another, getting scrappy in the moments when they need to, putting in tackles when they need to. So I think you'll fully appreciate this version of this national team that we've seen, especially over the last 5 or 6 months, because they've put together a combination of good play, good football, good skill, but also not backing down from any opponent.
So Mo, U.S. men's national team player of the year, Chris Richards, was on the show earlier, and I want to read a quote to you because I love the mindset. He said, "Every team we play is a rivalry. We want to beat every team and make a statement while doing it." And he also spoke to, like, we're going to the World Cup with the expectation of trying to win it. And that is obviously would be an incredible thing. It would be the biggest story that could come out of the World Cup. But what is the correct mindset for a team to take into this thing when there are a lot of ways to judge success in a World Cup, but he's talking about winning it and treating everyone in their path like it's a rivalry?
Amen. Amen to Chris Richards. I echo those same sentiments. That Honestly, fellas, that has to be the way you approach it. If you go into it setting the bar any lower than that, well, then you kind of lower your own standards. If you go in and say, yeah, we're going to approach it one game at a time, but our goal is to win this tournament, it gives you the best chance for success. Now, that's not ever looking past any opponent or taking anything for granted, but I want this group to believe they can win the World Cup. I want this group to set that as their goal, as their standard, as their North Star, and see how it plays out. So I'm all on board with Chris Richards, and I would bet a lot of money that if you were to quiz the rest of his teammates and this group of players, they all have that same mindset, and that can take you a long way, especially in this kind of competition.
Mo, one of USA's biggest stars is Christian Pulisic. He has having a big year for AC Milan, but he's going through a drought. Should we be concerned with that?
In Christian, I trust, man. Listen, this guy, we all go through ups and downs. You guys have played sports. You know it's a roller coaster. Sometimes you're doing the right things, you're getting in the right positions, but you're just not finding the back of the net. And for Christian, that's kind of what he's going through right now. Still playing well, still impacting his team, just hasn't scored this calendar year. But every time Christian puts on the red, white, and blue, this guy is a beast. He's an animal. He's a leader by his play. His teammates believe in him. We as fans, as analysts, as commentators, we believe and trust in him. And I've seen him on the biggest stage shine. So no, I'm not concerned. I know when it comes time for him to put on the USA's jersey, he'll be ready to go and he'll lead his team in the right direction.
I want to ask you about one of his teammates, Weston McKennie. Yeah, exactly. He just signs his extension with his team in Italy, where he's balling. It's like goals, assists, points in every game. They're playing in like 5-6 different positions. So, Swiss Army knife? Like, what type of role do you see him having for this World Cup team?
I love Weston. Honestly, I've loved Weston since he's been part of this national team because the kid just brings this kind of bounce to the team. The team has a different kind of feeling and a different kind of bounce when he's on the pitch. And part of it is because he's just a good player overall. Yeah, he can play various positions, and that's not easy, but he's adaptable, and he's always a key contributor to this team. Honestly, when I look at the form of these players for this group of players currently, if you were to ask me today, I think Weston has the potential to be the standout player when this tournament's said and done for the U.S. team. I think he could be the most impactful because of, like you mentioned, his versatility. But there's also this kind of passion and energy that he brings, this motivation where he can pick up his teammates. He knows how to bring the best out of them. And going back to the conversation earlier about chippiness and bite, he's got all that. So I think Weston's going to play a key role for this team come summertime.
Mo, there was a lot of pressure on USA's head coach, Mauricio Pochettino, to get this team into the World Cup. They've arrived. What can we expect from him, and what does he need to do to make sure this team has success?
Yeah, I would say the tough part early on for Pochettino was trying to figure out, one, who are the players that he can trust? Who is his best group of players? And then the fact that this team didn't have to go through World Cup qualifying, all they were going to play was friendlies in the lead up to the World Cup. So it was a tricky moment, but I think especially the second half of 2025, this team has really come together in the right way. And part of it is because of something that he did. He changed the tactics. He changed the formation a little bit. And now he got his best players on the pitch. He's able to get them in positions that are more suitable for, I guess, the cohesion of this group. And so now when you lead up to the World Cup, there's 4 more games, 4 more friendlies where he's got to identify who his starting 11 are. But more importantly, on June 12th, when that first whistle blows, he's got to have this team in the right mindset. Playing on home soil can be such an advantage, but it can also be pressure. So he needs to make sure that these players view all that support that they're going to have, all that comfortable nature of being in your home country as an advantage and not a deteriorating factor, which I'm sure they will be. And I'm sure he'll have this team ready to go.
So we're doing the 100-day countdown, but before the official opening match against Paraguay, there are 4 friendlies still to come, beginning at the end of March. There's a lot to accomplish, including setting the official roster, but what are the goals? What does success look like in those friendlies?
Success, I would say, of course you want to win. We're playing against some really strong opponents. So to round out these set of friendlies and go into the World Cup, continuing this momentum that they built towards the end of 2025, where they went 5 games unbeaten. So you look at the opponents we're playing. We're playing Belgium. We're playing Portugal, Cristiano Ronaldo in Portugal, Senegal, one of the top African nations. They just won African Cup of Nations as well, and Germany, who's always the powerhouse. So 4 really good games that'll set the tone for what we should expect this summer. So success for me looks like we walk away from these 4 games, hopefully with a few wins in the bag, but more importantly, we're confident that this team is ready to compete. Everything that we talked about, they're ready to scrap, they're ready to fight, but beyond that, there's the chemistry, there's the cohesion, and we have a group of players that we can believe are going to go and inspire this nation, galvanize this nation, and give us something to really celebrate and cherish when July 19th rolls around.
Mo, it's 100 days. We'll see you at the World Cup, man. Thank you so much. We're counting it down.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you guys. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys at some games as well.
Hey, love that. From your mouth to God's ears, we hope to be there. That's Mo Edu. 100 days until the FIFA World Cup, kicking off on Fox and FS1.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.